the basis for Freedom School really is giving the children a cultural and spiritual basis with love. That's the first thing that we want children to know when they come to Freedom School, that they are going to come to a welcoming environment, that the adults and the volunteers and support staff are here for them, and that they are the most important thing, in our universe when we're here. And we don't smother them. We are just there to support them. And so the children understand that. And whatever we're doing, they get into it, and they just have a good time because it's a safe environment for them.
It was a concept from Reverend Harris and Roger Brown, I think, on a collective, basically to help the children in the community understand that there's another way of doing things, as far as now introducing them to the life of agriculture. First, it gives them a history lesson of how food began. Number two, it gives them the opportunity to produce the food, to eat it, to let it go from the ground to the kitchen. And then the third one is it educates them on how to become entrepreneurs and how agriculture can make a lucrative living for our people.
Basically, he spent the summer teaching them skills from how to plant and lay the land, plant and prepare the land, and then also taking care of the crops and harvesting the crops. But in addition, it was like that bonding also that happened between, someone that they could look up to as a positive male role model. And they did certain projects, like they entered their produce into the fair, and that kind of started that tradition of ag being our center, but we also try to get that cultural experience too for our children here. So we kind of draw back to ag. So it started 3 years ago just with a small ag project, and now it's growing.
I think I'm gonna take a little mini vacation.
Good luck with that, Rev.
These children grew bell peppers, white and yellow corn, watermelons like this, honeydews, cantaloupes, okra, black-eyed peas, purple peas, Fresno chili peas, kale, peppers, eggplant, zucchini, squash, pumpkins. They grew it all this year. The children right now getting ready for the Fresno Fair. They're going to be getting into the competition we're going to teach the children how to make relish again this year. They did it last year. They won first place. Canning took first place. They took second place. We taught them how to make a tomato pie, took second place. So when you look at the self-esteem, when you look at the pride, when you look at children who have been marginalized from agriculture, which from a black perspective, this is what our ancestors did.
So what are you guys picking right now?
Peppers.
Peppers?
Bell peppers.
Bell
I'm just
peppers.
kidding.
Oh, how do they look to you guys? They look good?
No, I hate peppers. I hate hot stuff, except for hot Cheetos. I love them.
These are when they're decently ripe, but this is when they're completely ripe, from my understanding.
Okay, so that's not ripe, and then
this one's not as ripe. This one's not as ripe as this one.
Okay.
So whenever they change color, it means it's more ripe than the other one.
Nice.
And here's the regular eggplants. They can get white sometimes too, and they can be black. They can be yellow like this one, or they can be, I think, maybe green.
How did you learn about all this?
Just by coming with Mr. Harris and like just learning from what he's been teaching me throughout the time I've been with him. It's like kind of like raising like not like necessarily a child, but like the process, taking care of it, and waking up early. Like it's like a job, necessarily. So you gotta work here for long hours. You gotta water it, make sure the soil is very clean and rich, and that's all I can say. So.
I've been playing stuff for about 2 months now.
That's a long time. What have you learned so far?
I learned that there are purple tomatoes, and that I didn't know that you have to use a knife for okra, and that'll make you itchy if you touch it.
Really? I better not touch that then. What's your favorite part about gardening?
Picking the plants and selling it.
Why?
Because we get to raise money and I get to do tours.
Tours? What's a tour?
A tour is where I show around the garden.
You mind giving me a quick tour? Cool.
Hi, my name is Layla and I'm in charge of the Freedom School tours. And over here we have some bell peppers.
Bell peppers, so like the green and red kind and all that?
Yeah. Over here we have some eggplant. Right here. Over here we have some white corn. And you can see it in there. But most of our white corn has been dying. But this one is good. Over here we have some black-eyed peas, and this is where the aphids keep going to eat.
The bugs, right?
Yeah.
What's like the worst bug for a garden? Like what bug eats up like everything?
The aphids and the ants.
The ants? Like
yeah,
the red ants or?
And the white flies.
Ah.
Have some cantaloupe.
I'm a little bit too low.
And we also have honeydew, but there's a tiny one right in there.
Can you come through here?
And there's some in the. Over here we have some okra.
What change have you seen in them since they started coming and doing things with the Freedom School?
Confidence. Like, they talk with confidence now. It's not like a, you know what, I can't do this. It's like, okay, well, we have this problem. You know, like we had problems with the aphids. And they panicked at first. It was like, oh no, like look at the black-eyed peas, is aphids all over them. And we don't have enough ladybugs to fight them. So they wanted to figure out. They went and they was like, we gotta let Reverend Harris know. So they went and reported like it was a major emergency. And then we found a solution, and they came out and they were part of that solution.
Okay, the attitudes change for one. That's like the first thing we noticed. The attitudes change. They started to take more pride, and the self-worth seemed to grow. You could tell they feel more comfortable in their skin when they're moving around. They have more manners. They're more polite. They do little things, little subtle things that stands out. And I see that as the impact of the Freedom School that's taking them to that next level.
I think the joy of them realizing that, wow, I can do this. Just seeing them, for instance, with the garden, to see that cultivate the ground from nothing to what they produced, it's incredible. And just watching the joy from these kids to realize that they're part of something that's major, that has a major impact, that could be global. And once you give a kid that kind of impression that you contribute to the world and this is what you can contribute, it opens up their doors to realize that they're not limited.
We want to do some type of gumbo. I don't know if you guys know gumbo. And I want to teach the kids how to make that because I love gumbo like I do. And so yeah, it's fun. It's fun cooking here. Like it's a really nice activity that I enjoy personally. Like everybody has their little activity they enjoy that we do. Like the kids. But I'm a little older, so I like more mature and like cooking. So thank you for doing that.
We know that gardening reduces stress and anxiety. Can someone give me a reason why? And you have the answers too. Yes.
I don't have the answers.
Yes.
I would guess.
You would guess
that being outside in nature and exercising, getting the sun on you and connecting with the earth.
that is exactly right. Getting out in the garden at the end of a busy day reduces your stress levels and mental fatigue. Participants performed in that stressful activity or assigned 30 minutes of gardening. Indoor reading afterwards both reduced the stress, but gardening had a significantly bigger impact. Would you like a stress ball, young lady, or some garden oil?
I would like a stress ball. I've had my eye on it.
You can grab one of those.
First answer. Thank you.
Gardening decreases your risk for heart disease and diabetes. Can someone tell me what? There you go. Good catch, good catch. Gardening makes you happy. I think you all can tell me that right now.
Yeah.
Gardening makes you happy. Can you think of maybe one of the reasons why? Yes.
I think it's fun because achieving something great that you earned for yourself is like pretty fun.
I completely agree with that. Because that's subjective, but I completely agree with that. Oh, okay, I'm gonna already give you one. Do you know what you like?
Gardening gloves.
You like gardening gloves? You want to pick the colors? Oh, I forgot I have something underneath here too. I actually have the stress ball.
Everybody has to sacrifice, and so it's my turn to sacrifice for them. Someone sacrificed for me to be where I am, and so now it's my turn to sacrifice for them. And we just want to be able to change the lives of these young people right here, because they're dealing with a lot in life. They're dealing with black on black crime. They're dealing with domestic, foster, being a foster child, just broken homes, no fathers in the homes, grandmothers raising them 3 different generations. And so, I'm not here to judge them. I'm here to empower them and to make sure they may come sad, but they're going to leave happy.
What are some things you can tell me about Reverend Harris?
How much time have you got?
Hard-working man. But he is just like a go-getter. He's strong-willed. He doesn't let anything stop his vision. He surrounded himself with a good group of people, but even with us, he still will push us, even when we're like pushing back, saying, okay, well, let's observe A, B, and C. He's like, okay, we observe A, B, and C now, we can get to D. So he's a person that motivates and really pushes you so you can reach your excellence,
Probably one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Big heart, a go-getter. He's a non-stopper. Rev's babies, as he calls them, are his life. That's his goal. That's his mission in life. He's an activist for the freedom of these kids. That's the best way for me to put it. His mindset is about the children. He has a limitless thought when it comes down to these babies, as he calls them. It's funny to watch him because this man comes in and he's zombie tired. But when he sees these kids and what he does, they motivate him beyond, I think, what he's even capable of doing, but he does it.
If it hadn't been for Reverend Harris, I don't think I'd be doing grassroots community work again, because I was exhausted after 25, 35 years of doing it, and not getting a lot of results. But working with the children and with Reverend Harris, it's made me see that this is not in vain. This is a mission of love and dedication, and I will always invest in my people, and he reminded me of that.
Reverend Harris, man, that's a strong brother right there, and he's persistent. And, I love the brother, because he really has his heart out there for the children in the community. Like, a lot of people turn him down, and he don't take that. He'll knock that wall down and find something else to do. He's not going to stop. He's not going to stop. It's a freight train, 1,000,000 miles an hour. And he's for the people, and he always does that. And he always put the people first. My board get on me, they said, wait a minute, Reverend Harris, we got to finish one project before we move to the next.
I can't breathe.
No, we have had a wonderful year. I was telling someone earlier that next year I'm going to get transport. If I got to get a bus company to go and pick up our children and to bring them here every Saturday morning and take them home, because we feed them breakfast, we feed them lunch. The only thing is missing is transportation. Listen, I want to do a pumpkin patch this year, but again, my board is like, Reverend Harris, there you go again. We got the plan. And so I have all this energy in me that I can just envision the pumpkin patch. I just want to have it where it's hay out here, and big pumpkins everywhere, and the children could come in, and we have little donkeys they can get on, kind of like an amusement park type setup, you know. And we had a Head Start, wanted to bring 400 children here in October, and so we may have to postpone that. But the word is getting out.
As the chairwoman, where would you like to see the Freedom School in the next few years?
Wow, that's an excellent question. Well, in the next few years, I'm hoping that the Freedom School will have grown into a brick and mortar charter institution. We already have about, I want to say 7 or 8 young people who have gone through Freedom School and gone through Roger Brown's program and are now at historical black colleges, and many of them are ag majors. They just happen to be ag majors. On full scholarships, getting a full ride because of Freedom School and the work that they did with Roger. So what I would like to see, as I said, is a brick and mortar school. I'd like to see Freedom School branch out to other nonprofit organizations where most of the black churches in Southwest Fresno have a Freedom School chapter, and to just get as many supporters and boosters as we can. You know, I have learned over this summer the Freedom School is not just a program, it's a state of mind. And so we want to share that with the world, and I think people have seen our positive message and they have responded to that. So that's what I want to see. I really want to see a brick and mortar school before, you know, I lay down my head for the last time. So I'm going to work towards that.
I see Freedom School being a full site facility located on farmland, but not just only restricted to farming, also having that cultural aspect that's big in it, with my up-to-date technology, with top-of-the-line tips and experts to come in and work with our kids, not just relying on just the knowledge in a circle, but reaching out. And I also see it being a program that will have a lot of retention and being able to show that our kids, they do excel more in school when they have this type of program or enrichment going on in their lives, in addition to core education subjects, and that we have a high rate of sending students to college with scholarships, full scholarships.
So scholarships are important.
To basically stimulate each other's minds, to see where we can take the program from start to finish, to see where we can get the kids from start to finish. We want to eventually have a program that sets up entrepreneurship for these children, so that when they could take over, to expand themselves as human beings in a society, that they can teach the next generation. And not only that, but educate. You know, we're looking for a structure one day to where we can have a building, a structure that will allow us to bring on a lot more children, so we could have a full-time status of education, a curriculum that's going to carry not only the aspect of farming, of agriculture, but the curriculum of education in other directions too. You know, because our children need that. They need to understand that there's a self-status potential that they need to meet one day, and that we're going to help them get there. They've got goals and dreams that we want to help them accomplish.
When you look at like schools now, and the system it's failing the kids, the children, for one. The Freedom School is more hands-on learning, and it builds a sense of self-pride, a self-worth with the children, and family building, culture understanding, history, those things that they don't teach so much in the schools. We kind of bring that to the light, and you know, it's a good thing.
We put 13 children in ag colleges right now. Some of them came through the Freedom School. They was here last week. They've been to Ghana, they've been to South Africa, different places like that, learning the ag piece over in the motherland, and they're bringing those resources back here. We have Dr. Kennedy, who's in Atlanta, Georgia right now, who is the co-founder of the Freedom School. work very close with her. She's pipelining resources back here to Fresno, California, to the Freedom School, to this location here. When it comes to music, we have a marching band. We're working on networking with the Black historical colleges in the South to bring that culture back here to the West Coast. So we don't have that culture here on the West Coast. It's only in the South. So you look at Grambling, you look at Southern universities. Them brothers and sisters come out dancing and stuff like that. So that's the vision to bring back here to the Golden West Side of Fresno, California.